Hey, everybody, this is Mike with the Daily BM. On this episode, Brad and I discuss why women expect us to take accountability for other men's actions. This is a great episode. We also talk a little bit about, the psychology behind male masculine identity. And we really dive into, some of the situations that we've experienced in our personal lives in regards to this situation and new things that we've learned. And we also discuss a book that we really have enjoyed reading that's kind of opened our eyes to some things. So I hope that you enjoy this episode. Remember, like and subscribe, and enjoy the listen.
Hey, good morning, fuckers, and welcome to another day at the Daily BM. This is where we tackle contemporary issues and dive into discussions that matter. Speaking of things that matter, what's up, Mikey?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you guys doing today?
And they're answering back. We're doing great.
Yeah,
And it's early. I haven't had my coffee. Stop yelling into the microphone.
As the man known as The Rock would say, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter what your feelings are.
Yeah.
So today's topic.
I miss WWE.
Me too. You know what, man? It's funny you say that. Hulk Hogan was just at, I want to say he was at Hard Rock at a bar, and he was mixing drinks for people and shit.
Well, that's what his life's come to.
And he was like, "You want another drink, brother?"
He's probably roofing him so he gets next girlfriend.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Hulk. Please don't kill me.
So he can make another video.
Don't kill me, Hulkamaniacs. I know what you did to Bubba's wife. I don't want that to happen to anybody I know.
What, you don't want to get like railed?
Pound Town.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say you don't want to go to Pound Town with Hulk Hogan.
No thanks.
The most electrifying man in wrestling. No, but anyway. So today's topic is going to be why women often expect men to take accountability for the actions of other men.
Yeah, I think that's I think it's something that I know I've run into in the past in my life.
Okay. Oh, please elaborate for us and the listeners.
Yeah, so basically, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like this, but it's like you're out with, your significant other, and it's happened to me more in the past than more in the present. And I think it's just because I'm getting older and I'm hanging with different demographic people as opposed to where I used to go. Like I used to go more to clubs and out at night and stuff like that. And you always have that one guy in your group that's kind of like the asshole. That's kind of like catcalling women and like, just being like inappropriate.
Raise
you know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm just kidding. Yes. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty is charged.
So
yes.
And then your woman is like, hey, you need to go take care of your boy and get him in check, And it's interesting because like we're not like that as guys. Like we don't sit around and talk about stuff like that. Like women, from what I've read and what I've seen, women will sit around and talk about like men and manipulation and like
dicks.
Getting there. Yeah. Well, guys talk about vagina and pussy a lot.
They do. I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying they do. They do talk about that stuff.
Hey, what would happen if the Terminator runs into an alien and they'll be like, well, the alien's blood would boil right through his metal. No, that shit's future stuff. It doesn't melt with acid. Plus, he would see him coming a mile away because he has night vision and infrared and everything else.
See, they never understand that we don't talk about that shit very often. We talk about the dumbest shit ever. It always reminds me of those memes that you see where the guy, the cartoon character, is laying on the edge of the bed looking at his phone, and the other girl's like saying, I wonder what he's thinking about, who he's talking about. And he's like, just like you said, I wonder if the alien bit the predator's arm off. You know what I mean? And we're never thinking about the shit that they think we are because we're just a bunch of idiots. But yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, hold on a second. Sorry, my computer was like, do you want to restart now? And no, can't restart now in the middle of the podcast. Go check your shit. And basically, we don't sit around as guys and talk like that. Like we just don't.
No.
And then, I saw some posts, and this actually was on a Reddit post that started this, got me thinking about this. And the title was,
"Why sent me earlier?"
Yeah, that was the link I sent you. It's like, why do women expect men to take accountability for other men's actions? And one of the guys referenced, guys roofing women and like doing like shady shit like that.
Right.
And my thought process on that is like, if you're with a guy that's like that, then you're kind of with a douchey guy. Like, I don't know any of my friends that would roofie a woman. And the moment that I found out, they would be going to fucking jail, number one. And number two, I wouldn't be friends with them anymore. Bottom line, that's the end of it. So I don't hang out or associate with those guys. So it's not like I can correct those type of behaviors because that's not the crowd that I run with. And I feel like douchebags attract douchebags. Oh yeah, well I don't know about your past. Maybe that was you. Maybe
off screen.
We got Mr. Bill Cosby over here. Spanish fly, it's a wonderful drug.
Hey, yellow pudding pops. That's all I'm gonna say. For everyone.
Spanish fly Bradley over here.
Splanish fly. Never mind.
Spanish fly Bradley. But I just don't. I don't. You've seen it. You see it on Instagram where women are calling out men. You gotta be like, why aren't you putting this guy in check? And number one, we don't have conversations like that. Number two, we probably don't know the guy close enough. And number three, it's like if women are stupid enough to fall for guys like that, like why do we have to be their saviors? Like, isn't that Darwinism like at its finest? Like, shouldn't we just let them
get
murdered
themselves?
And then it'll improve the bloodline? I don't know. Like.
The Darwin effect, just let him freaking get murdered and improve the bloodline.
I'm just saying.
I honestly think that like women are just kind of like guys in this sense. Like, the older men get, it takes us a lot longer to mature, a lot longer. Men by nature. So, when they're 50,
speak for yourself.
When they're 50, they're actually acting like they're 30. And then when they're 30, they actually act like they're 15. You know what I mean? So yeah. I feel like women mature faster than men. Yeah, I'm going to throw the bone to the lady listeners here, but the reality is it is pretty true in my opinion. But they do, I think where they suffer is when they're younger, they like the douchey bad guys. And then as they become older and more wise, they start to realize these douchey bad guys, some of them just don't offer them shit. In most cases. Oh, so you think it's the other way around. You think they just like them, period. Douchey all the time.
No.
Douchey all the time.
I think what happens is they age out of the douchebag's radar.
Oh,
so they hit that magic number on the age, and the douchebags no longer hit on them because they're like.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm done.
Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit more? So what are you trying to say?
I'm saying that
What do you mean they get out of the douche guy's radar? What exactly are you saying?
I keep getting older, but they stay the same age.
Same age. Yes, they do.
So, yeah.
What you're saying is they get ugly.
I'm saying they get ugly to douchebags. And then this is where the trick comes in.
And then?
This is where the trick comes in.
Okay.
This is when the guy that was the nerd in high school that, busted his ass, never hooked up with the hot chicks, okay, because he was super nerdy, kind of dorky looking. Who's now like done well in life because he's like, he applied himself in school because he wasn't getting laid. So that's all he could do is hit the books. He's now wealthy. And here comes, let's call her Cynthia with her 3 kids.
Oh, Mary Crotch.
Yeah, 3 kids from 2 baby daddies, but she's not bad looking for her age. Okay. She's not picking up the young douchebag guys anymore that she used to get. And the douchebag guys that are her age are now hitting on the 19-year-olds that are coming up because they're looking for the fresh meat. Here comes Mr. Nerdy Pants, who is now like, okay, money wise, ready to go. And she lashes her tentacles into him and bleeds his ass dry until he dies.
And bleeds his ass dry. So what you're basically saying is, you're not ugly, you're just poor. So if you got money, you can do what you want.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, you've seen it. I know you've seen it. I've seen it. There's girls that, like, I'm not naming names, but they're girls that went in high school where, you know, they were
Marsha.
No,
I'm just kidding. I'm not naming names, but Marsha.
They were all the rage in high school. Everybody wanted to date them, and everybody did date them. That was anybody. And then they get older, they have a couple kids, and now they're divorced, and now they hook up with the nerdy guy that's like made some money that's bald, you know? Like,
hey, I ain't got the money part, but I got the bald part.
You know, they hook up with him, and now they're, you know, now he's taking care of like 2 other kids that isn't his, and he's living a horrible life, and he's in, you know, chat groups going, I hate my life. My wife never puts out.
He's blowing up chat rooms.
Blowing up chat rooms. Why am I such a fucking loser? I just want to get laid.
Hey, you ever, even worse, like he goes on chat roulette and he sees his own wife in there. They're both in the same place.
Because he's jerking off.
She's like, wait a minute, is that Steven?
Wah, 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 wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Seriously, that's like, that's how I see it, you know? And back to the accountability thing, though, I think, you know, it's funny because there's so much miscommunication out there, because like women want to be strong and independent, and, you know, they've been taught like be girl bosses and the whole 9 yards, but then they also want a guy that's like strong and masculine and like, you know, 6 foot, over 6 foot, 6 figures, blue eyes, you know, they've got all these prerequisites. But they're not bringing anything to the table.
You're listening to the Daily BM.
I don't like the whole prerequisite thing. I mean, you can have your tastes. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't like the word prerequisite. The people that do that kind of thing. But you know, I've never ever been. Even before I got married, I was never really attracted to that type of woman where they put like that stipulation in play. It was usually like, bye, well,
you couldn't be because you're only 5'6". So, I mean, you didn't have an option.
Go fuck yourself.
you were already discredited from beginning. So you saying it wasn't your preference.
Why do you make me an asshole all of a sudden, man? I mean, by throwing out a freaking insult.
Because it happened to me. I mean, it happened to me too. Like, I'm only 5'9", so it's not like I'm like way taller than you. I mean,
yeah, but then I
look normal compared to you.
Then I go, and then they're like, "Oh, welcome back." That's such
like, oh, look at the little fella.
Look at that little fella. But no,
yeah, that's impressive.
You know, but I've never the accountability thing. So let me get back to that. I have never one of the great things about my wife is that I don't have to stick up for her unless somebody puts her hands on her.
She's a fucking dude.
No, she'll put a bitch in their place. Like, she'll put a bitch right in their place. Now, have I been around women that like to be drama and like try to like even start shit? You know what I mean? Like trying to make me, hey, go talk to your friends over there, man, because they're being rude and this other shit. Yeah, I've had that in the past, and I think it's annoying as fuck, personally. You know, I always believe unless they say something completely rude, you know what I mean, to the downright where it's rude. But normally you would step out and tell your friend, "Hey, man, you're being a dick." Would you not?
Yeah, yeah, mostly. I mean, I tell you all the time, but you don't listen.
That's because I'm a dick. But
exactly. So it doesn't work for me.
Go fuck yourself, Michael. But
you know, it brings up an interesting topic, though. What you just said. That, you know, you don't really have to stand up for your wife because she stands up for herself. So my question to that is, you know, we're reading that book,
right?
That's
masculine.
You know, the masculine relationships,
right?
And it got me pondering, like, especially about situations like that, because she's acting in her masculine by defending herself and taking care of herself. Do you feel that pushes her out of her feminism? Like, when she has a situation like that where she has to defend herself, after that encounter, is she more in her masculine phase, or does she drop right back into being feminine and like letting you like take the lead and like?
Let me back up. I got 2 instances, and in one of them, let me clarify what I meant earlier, and I probably should have clarified it a little bit more. If she's out and about and, you know, and people like, and they're going back and forth ragging on each other, I let her defend herself. But if a guy talks shit to her, she will,
okay.
she will step, but I'll step right then and there.
So so I'm not okay. So I wasn't talking about like the joking back and forth between friends, because that's different. Like that's
talking about just 100% douchery.
I'm talking like in a situation where it's not a happy confrontation. I'm not talking where like, you know, somebody's like, "Hey, what's up, fatty?" and she's like, "Yeah, what's up, small dick?" and you know, like everybody's like, "Ha ha ha, she made a dick joke."
Okay, so like here's a scenario, like,
you know, like not like that. Like I'm talking like there's an asshole and he's being a dick.
We had an asshole that we ran into at Duke's,
right?
Sports bar here. Okay, and I won't mention his name, but he's a real fucking pussy. I'll put it that way. And I don't mind calling him out. And he knows who he is if he ever listens to the show. He's a pussy, and I don't really care. So, but I won't mention his name because that's just who I am. But the bottom line is he was talking mad shit, right?
Yeah.
I didn't hear it. My wife did. And so she turned to him and said, "Hey, that's my husband right there." And then I didn't know about it until we left. So I told her in the future, because she knows how I would have responded. Because I'd have grabbed that bitch by the throat. I would have. He's 6'2". I'm not, but I would have fucking. I would have done it. I would have totally just junk punched that bitch, dropped him out, and knocked his ass out. But then I had to start thinking, like, old me would have been that way, but the new me is like, he's not worth my time of day. She didn't make it. He didn't make any aggressive move towards me, and he just was a shit talker. But if I would have heard him, I know my reaction would have been like, "Hey, go fuck yourself." You know what I mean? What do you think about that? You know what I mean? And I would have egged it on to try to get him to freaking try to take a punch.
So that doesn't, those situations aren't really that situation, because she's not getting in her masculine to
I would say
defend herself. Like,
if she stepped out of that role, if she stepped into that masculine role temporarily, I can tell you my wife will step back out into the feminine role immediately. Like, she won't be like masculine the whole entire time. Like, she'll literally drop out. If she sees me come in and take over, she'll drop off.
Like, well, that's because you came into. That's because you came into.
Because I'll notice something's wrong,
right?
And so I know
which is not the way you framed it originally. So that null and voids the entire conversation.
That's why I wanted to clarify, because I misunderstood. So,
and just like that, we don't have a bit there, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have
no. Because yes, we do. Because honestly, it's like one of those things where when she's masculine, she'll back off and be feminine. Now, there are times in the past, like years ago, where she would stay in that masculine role. But if that plays out on me too, for not stepping in. If that makes sense. Like, I wasn't accepting that role. I was just letting her be the masculine.
Yeah.
So she was having to stay in that character, in that role.
Right.
Which I don't do that anymore.
Right. Yeah, because I was wondering about that, because if in the book that we're reading, that the masculine relationships, that's one of the things that it talks about is, women having to step up in the masculine role, because either you don't care or you don't show up as a man in the moment. And it's on little things that we just take for granted.
100%.
But it leaves lasting, effects in your relationship.
Yep.
It's the simple stuff as like, when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, that hurts credibility, and that hurts being a man of the word, or, like the other examples, it's like making her do all the planning for vacations, or, doing all the grocery shopping planning, like not even showing like you care, or the one that got me, the one that I was susceptible of. And, this will go back to, this is part of the communication. So this will all roll back into the accountability part for men taking men. Correct. Is the dinner. What do you want for dinner? Open-ended question. I did not realize how damaging that little question is to your relationship as a man. Because you're not leading. You're not taking a leadership position or a masculine position. You're not saying, "Hey, listen, babe, I'm really feeling like Italian or Mexican or sushi tonight. Which one of those sounds great to you?" That's leadership, because you're going, "Hey, I got these options, but I would like you to be a part of the decision process." So it's inclusionary, as opposed to going, "Hey, what do you want to eat?" Which is giving her 100% control and putting her in the leadership position, or being more definitive. Like the other option is, "Hey, I'm good with anything except for Mexican sushi and Italian, because I'm not really wanting those tonight. Is there something that is, a fancy for you?" That's still leadership, because you're saying these are the things I do not want. Or, "Hey, babe, I'm surprising you. Pick A or B. They're one of your two favorite places. And then she says B. It says, okay, great. We're going here. That's, again, taking leadership. And it was interesting because, it goes back to that accountability and or taking control of the situation, which is something that I think deep down, biologically, women want out of their mate, their significant other. Because there's been, generations of that built in to the way that we've existed. Because let's face it, the women were supposed to be nurturers and take care of the children, while the men were there to protect the family and protect the children, and from outside external threats. And that's the way it was for the past 1,000 years, all up until maybe the last 50. Because now through technology, we have less external threats. I mean, there's still a chance you might get killed by a bear, but it's pretty fucking slim. And it's almost zero if you stay in the middle of a suburb and you never leave your house, but to go to your grocery store. It's very, very slim. So you don't have those type of external threats anymore, which I think has caused men to get a lot more lazy and a lot more feminine as opposed to their behaviors. So I think that's a problem.
No, you're dead on. You're dead on with this. And I mean, maybe we'll wrap up with this particular discussion.
Principle, yeah.
But you're principle. You're absolutely right, because I was exactly that person. I would go, so what do you want? So what do you want? Now I'm kind of like, okay, hey, we can go here, here, here. What which one of those work for you? And it's like, oh, we'll do this one. Okay, great, let's go.
Yeah.
None of this showboating. Oh, do you want this, or what are you in the mood for? No.
Right.
So, like tonight, I'll be like, hey, I can either make spaghetti here, or we can do this and get something to go. Which one do you want? And I'll make it.
Yeah, which makes life so much easier when you take that approach as opposed to, 100%. Hey, what do you want for dinner? So that's like a tidbit. And as far as women wanting...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm down to one earpiece. Sorry. So I have a small delay.
Oh.
I just ran out of charge.
Oh, gotcha. So all I was going to say is that loops back into why women want men to be accountable for other men. It's because through the generations, that has been our role, to keep other people in check.
Right.
In society. And it's only been up to recently that those lines have come completely blurred as far as whose role is what. I remember, in my dad talking about, like, if they would see a guy harassing a woman, they would all go in and stop it, like, immediately.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now you really don't know if you could, because I've been in a situation where this has been many, many years, but I've gone to break up a domestic disturbance in a bar between a man and a woman. And in the next thing that I know, they're both swinging on me.
Yep.
And all I did was try to step in between and separate them, because he was smacking the shit out of her.
Yep.
So the minute 100%. I pushed him, she's like, don't touch my man, and starts hitting me in the back. And now I got two people to fuck with. And it's like, I don't need this shit. Like, and I think that's where a lot of the issues come in, because it's like, you don't know where you stand anymore, as a man. You know really where you should stand, and that's where I try to stand, but you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So that's kind of where my thought process is on it. Is the reason that, women want men to be accountable is because we've always been accountable for those around us. And a man of leadership does take some accountability in the situation to make sure it doesn't get out of hand.
Hey, you want to tell the listeners where they can listen to that book, or where they can either listen and or purchase?
Yeah, actually, you know what? We'll post an Amazon link up on our page, where you can buy the book and or the audio book. And if you use the link on our Amazon page, we do get an affiliate little kickback that kind of helps the show a little bit. So if it's something that you're interested in, you want to read more about the book, we'll put a link on our website. On our website, and maybe we'll even post it to social. I don't know if that's possible, because I'm not a social guy, but maybe we'll figure out some way to make it happen.
No, just kidding. Yeah, I'll definitely get that up there for everybody.
I think that'd be great.
So I think that's great. It's a great topic, man. Great selection today, Mike.
And don't forget to mention our sponsor, Mason Danger.
I'm doing it right now. So guys, don't forget, before we get out of here, do not forget, again, head over to thedailybm.com, where you can check out that book. Again, it's called The Masculine in a Relationship?
Yeah, The Masculine in a Relationship, I believe is the name of the title.
Correct. Either way, we'll have it up there for you guys. Go to thedailybm.com. Don't forget, you can also follow us on all our socials over there, Facebook, Meta, Twitter, the Meta, and then the one that Mike loves so much. And then so the Facebook, the Gram, the tweets, or the TikToks, whatever, we're all there. Also, don't forget to head over to masondangerbeardco.com, where you can pick up everything there at 20% off, just by simply using the promo code DailyBM. And with that, I think we're going to close down today's show and lead in for tomorrow. So, Mikey, got anything before we get out of here?
Everybody have a great day. One of the things that I always like to remember is take a breath before you react, so that way you can respond. Don't react, respond. That's my message for the end of this podcast.
Well said. And with that, we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Have a good one.
Deuces.